when you talk in this one.
Now I'm going to call this public meeting or public hearing to order. In attendance this evening are Supervisors Fisher, Aguizio, Fleer, Barney, and Cassiola, as well as Jordan from Strasburger. What's the law firm? Why am I drawing a blank?
Strasburger.
McKenna, thank you. And Township Manager Don Januso. If you intend to speak this evening, please stand to be sworn in for testimony. Thank you. This public hearing is to consider conditional use application 2022-0014 filed by Elevated Properties, AT&T, and Verizon Wireless for construction of a new communications tower at 162 County Line Road, Bridgeville, Pennsylvania 15017, in the R1 Low Density Residential Zoning District, tax parcel ID 140-011-0000000101. This public hearing was duly advertised on June 21st and June 28th, 2022. Is there someone from the applicant here this evening that wants to speak? Could you step to the microphone, state your name and address for the record, or not your address, but your name and company for the record, and give us a little information?
Sure. My name is Matt Walker. I'm with Elevated Properties. We are the tower developer for Verizon and AT&T. As stated earlier, we are proposing a tower, 199-foot monopole tower, self-supporting monopole on 162 County Line Road. AT&T and Verizon are both trying to improve coverage along the I-79 Washington Pike corridor and along I-576. In addition, they need to improve their in-building cellular coverage for residential and commercial areas near the county line. And the new tower will improve and provide adequate coverage while minimizing the impact on the surrounding area. The proposed tower is a 199-foot self-supporting tower. It sits inside a compound of 2,534 square foot, which is fenced gravel compound, which will enclose AT&T and Verizon equipment. And per the FAA, the tower does not require any lighting or strobes. It's located on a 4-acre property currently used as storage for business. Surrounding dwellings are over 500 feet away to the south, with wooded PennDOT and wooded privately owned property to the north. East is PennDOT expansion, west is wooded. All dwellings are over 500 feet away. The fence compound and tower equipment will not be visible due to terrain and surrounding wooded ground. Also, the proposed tower will not create noise, glare, odor, fumes, vibration, or increase any traffic.
Thank you.
It's my understanding this was turned down in South Fayette.
Not our company. No.
If you could, again.
The tower was turned down in South Fayette.
We did not propose any tower in South Fayette, no. I don't know who
Absolutely.
did.
I talked to members on the board. It was turned down in South Fayette.
It's not our tower. I don't know who that was. It's not us.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to remain there just for 1 second
Sure.
until I make sure there aren't any other board questions?
Sure.
When you mentioned 500 feet away, when you said a dwelling, are you talking about just the structure or the property lines?
500 feet away from any dwellings, yeah, the structures, which is what's in the ordinance.
Do you have a plot plan of the area to show us?
Sure. Yeah, I have a jump drive here. We can
Can hook it up and
Yeah.
put it up on the screen.
Okay.
Because I think I know what I got.
Oh, thanks. I have that on.
For the record, Dan Dizerat, the township engineer.
This one's on here. You're good.
This is Dan Dizerat. I'm the township engineer. From a location standpoint, this is a location map.
If
This
you
is-
would, Dan, hold on one second. If you wouldn't mind, if just not talking so loud while they're presenting, thank you. Sorry.
This is County Line Road. This is the South Fayette Cecil Township border. This is the new interchange for the highway. And this is the proposed location of the tower. I just brought this for the board's view. You can see a little bit closer in on here. The applicant was referring to a storage area. So there's storage buildings that are located behind the residential structures, and this is the proposed location of the tower. There's more detailed plans. I can open those up if the board wants to see those in more detail. Tom,
Can
would you
you,
like to
can you move it up a little bit so we can see
Sure.
less of the ground here and more of the,
see the residential properties?
thank you.
Is this going to be visible from the National Cemetery?
We've done all of the national environmental permit work, and the assessment was there's no impact.
Well, I know they stopped the bridge from going over out there. You're saying you're not going to be able to see it from the cemetery?
I can't say if it'll be seen from the cemetery, but the environmental assessment.
I'm only talking vision. I know there's hardly no environmental.
You might be able to, I don't know.
The reason,
The impact was no impact. That was the study that was done, which I can provide you all as well, but there is no impact.
Environmentally.
I'm sorry?
Environmentally.
Environmentally, and that's also part of the visual impact is part of that study as well, along with
It's not going to impact none of these people?
historic
Visual-wise.
structures. Historic structures is what you were asking me about.
he was talking about the National Cemetery.
not
The National
historic.
Cemetery is in that, included in the historic landmarks. That's all been studied.
Not historic.
What is the reason for putting this tower in that specific location?
To provide better coverage to the highway expansion. And, well, I read it before. It's basically just to provide better coverage and, let's see here, along I-79 and I-576, and to improve in-building cellular coverage.
So prior to this tower, should it be put up, the homes in that area, was there issues in cell phone coverage? Or is this just strictly because of 576, the new?
I think it's partly for coverage. My understanding was it's partly for coverage and it's partly for capacity. So when you have more people in an area, the capacity, the bandwidth suffers, and they need to provide more capacity. So you have capacity and coverage, probably due to the expansion too.
But prior to 576 opening up, this area did not have a coverage issue, yes? Correct?
I believe it did, yeah. We provided to the Planning Commission all the documents showing the previous coverage from AT&T. We haven't received that yet from Verizon, but from AT&T. And my understanding was even a couple of the Planning Commission members mentioned that they didn't have coverage at home, which was, I think, across 79.
What is on that lot where you said where you're proposing those storage buildings? What all is on that parcel besides storage buildings?
That's it.
No dwelling?
No.
Well, you'll have the opportunity to speak. Go ahead.
How did that happen then? How did it happen?
My understanding is it's all storage buildings. I don't I wasn't told that there was a dwelling there.
There
so.
has to be an occupied structure, right?
Dan, how do you think that could happen?
Is that Cecil Township
There
or
is.
South
There
Fayette?
is.
There's a structure there.
It looks like the property's split between both Cecil and South Fayette, if I had to guess, but I don't see a parcel line on the other side that would indicate, so it could all be taxed in Allegheny County, I'm not sure.
I'm asking about the storage itself. How could there just be storage on a lot
There can't be.
in a residential
Not in
zone?
Township, not in
I just
Cecil.
assuming it was grandfathered in. I'm not aware of the age or when those might have been built there. I don't know, maybe some of the residents would know,
Okay, we'll find that out.
yeah.
Yeah, my understanding was there wasn't a dwelling there.
There
Do
there
you
is
ha-
a resident there. Believe me.
Did you,
Right
go
in
ahead.
that first building.
Okay.
Did you bring tonight the same presentation that you presented to Planning Commission? Because we obviously didn't hear or see that, so it's,
Oh, my
I feel like we're
goodness.
kind of getting like
Yeah.
piecemeal.
Yeah, I have it on my jump drive, or if
I don't need you to go through the whole presentation, but if there's information on there that's being asked,
right.
you know, perhaps you could present.
I
it.
assumed that that was all transferred.
This is a separate hearing.
It was transferred, but
Theirs wasn't a hearing, there was just
Right.
a meeting.
It should be the zoning filing narrative. Okay. We've got a lot of pages here, so I'm willing to go through what you would like to see.
You don't need to go through the whole presentation, but like you had said that there was a cell phone coverage map in here as part of the presentation, so when asked, it would be helpful if you could pull that up and.
Sure. Let me find it here. A lot of documents.
Dan, did this pass Planning Commission?
the planning commission did recommend that the conditional use hearing be set up.
Okay. In an effort to kind of move things along, why don't we give the microphone, if there's anybody from the public that would like to speak, please step to the microphone. You can take it, Jack, you want to take it out and hand it to them so they don't have to stand on top of them. Yeah. Please state your name and address for the record when you come to the microphone.
Hi, my name is Holly Bishop. I live at 210
Can
County
you
Line
hold it a
Road.
little, there you go.
210 County Line Road. The 162 County Line is directly behind my property.
Okay.
And I'm going to speak to the dangers of cell towers. And I used a couple of articles to write this, so if you need them, I can submit them.
Okay.
Okay, mobile towers located any closer. Oh, sorry.
Okay, just hold it closer.
Sorry, I'm not a public speaker.
That's okay. We'll give you as much time as you need. Don't rush, don't feel pressure, just speak up.
Excuse me one second. If it's about health issues, Mr. Solicitor, I could ask you a question, and not to diminish what you're going to say, but we were always under understanding that that the FCC handles health issues, that we're not able to take testimony on that because it's not within our jurisdiction to even consider as part of our hearing. And I don't want to just mess up our hearing if you still concur with what the solicitors told us in the past.
We can hear testimony, we just can't use it as part of our
But
decision-making.
we're not, we were
Right.
never supposed to even take testimony, health-related issues. Not that they're not important, but the FCC is supposed to address that. So I just want to have our solicitor rule in. We have other conditions that you're going to bring up and issues to make a decision on, and if it's even brought up that our decision was based or swayed at all on health issues, then that could jeopardize us if there ends up being an appeal. So that's my
Go
worry.
ahead, you can respond to
Right, so I would let her speak briefly. If you don't want to take what she says under consideration, you don't have to.
Right. In the past, we've listened to it, we just haven't, just keep that in mind when you're presenting. We can't weigh health issues into our decision-making because we're not allowed, that's governed by a different body, the FCC. So we can hear you out, but when we're making our final decision, that will not be factored in.
This is just what I've researched.
Okay.
And the distance to homes and the distance that all the residents are, so I
We
think
will
I
hear-
think it's relevant.
Yeah, that's fine. We are happy to hear you out. Go ahead.
Okay. Mobile towers located any closer than 437 yards or 4 football fields away is cause for additional investigation with an EMF consultant. The closer you are to the source, the higher your radiation exposure. That's from Jordan Mitchell, February 14th, 2020 at beemf.com.
Jack, I still can't hear.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Several countries have already implemented measures to keep cell towers away from residential areas, schools, hospitals, and recreational grounds. The U.S. is slower to act because of big money. This is no excuse to ignore the health issues, in my opinion. The precautions taken by other countries were because of the possible effects that cell towers have on the human body, and research continues to expand on such effects every year. Studies have been conducted on humans in 2007, which found people that lived near cell towers had low levels of melatonin and serotonin. That's a big deal because those hormones are involved in the immune system, mood stabilization, and sleep regulation. In this era of COVID, we don't need anything messing with our immune systems. A German study conducted in 2009 that collected data from people living 437 yards away found people experienced physical discomforts such as skin infections, irritations, sleep problems, and difficulty seeing and hearing. Later tests discovered that they had complications related to their cardiovascular systems, gastrointestinal tracts, and hormones. In the UK, a 2007 study was conducted and confirmed that other studies indicating the relationship between mobile tower radiation and development of cancer. Other health issues would consist of childhood leukemia, brain tumors, geotoxic effects, neurological effects, immune system deregulation, allergic and inflammatory responses, breast cancer, miscarriage, and some cardiovascular effects. The Bioinitiative report concluded that a reasonable suspicion of risks exists based on clear evidence of bioeffects at environmentally relevant levels, which, with prolonged exposures, may reasonably be presumed to result in health impacts. A study in France conducted a 328-yard-away report, side effects of fatigue, skin disorders, migraines, increased irritability, dizziness, skin infections, cardiovascular problems, difficulty remembering, nausea, difficulty concentrating on tasks at hand, and EMF advice lists commonly observed side effects and symptoms.
Sorry, just keep in mind, like, if you have other points to make, again, we can't consider it,
I
can't
can get to
consider
the
health
bottom. I
issues.
can skip over the.
Yeah, if you just would, move on.
So, okay, the biggest side effect of living near a cell tower is the increased risk of cancer. The World Health Organization has actually done quite a bit of research into EMF radiation and cancer. And in one of the most recent studies, they found a link between EMF and cancer. The tower that is proposed to go on County Line Road is too close to residents. The minimum safe distance, as mentioned earlier, is 437 yards, or 4 football fields from homes. This tower is going to be much, much less than that. It needs to be pushed back more in order for residents to be safe. I'm not opposed to good cell service, just don't want it at the expense of my family and neighbors' health and safety. We must look out for each other, especially in these times. I know Cecil Township cares about its residents and will do the right thing. There's a lot of land in Cecil that could be used that will not interfere with people. I am sure they can find an alternative spot, and that way everyone can be happy.
Thank you. Anyone else want to speak? Go ahead, you can just step aside.
Where's the next cell tower in relationship to this one? Would it be yours, Benny? The next cell tower.
Denny,
Yeah.
Denny, can you state your name and address for the stenographer before you speak?
Sluchak, and I reside at 47 Grudovich Road. The cell tower that we're talking about, the Crown, is that the township has left Crown relocated. They're taking it from the Weaver property, an existing tower, and moving it to within 200 feet of my property, which is right along 79.
Okay.
Well, how close do you think it'd be to this one?
I'd say,
The way the crow flies.
way the crow flies, probably about 3 mile, 4 mile, about 4 mile, 3, 4 mile.
Okay, thank you.
that.
Let's try to keep it specific to this tower, though. Go ahead, if you were going to step to the microphone. Just again, keep in mind that we cannot make decisions based on health effects. So if you have property value, complaints, things like that, those are things that we can take into consideration, but health impacts we cannot.
Good evening. My name's Nicole. I'm a registered nurse.
Nicole, what's your last name?
My name's Nicole Lewis. I'm at 201 County Line Road. I'm a registered nurse. I work within the community. I'm here this evening for the health and safety of not only my friends and my neighbors and my family. If this side of the room, whoever's at County Line Road that's here this evening, can you please stand up to show the support that we together came together for this? I don't know if you've seen a neighborhood support like this, but we are here because we don't want this. We came to County Line Road because we wanted to live in a rural community. We wanted to live in nice acreage properties, close to other things and amenities, but we also wanted to be safe and live where we are. You guys could be seated. Thank you. So just to give you a little history, County Line Road does come up a lot. The Southern Beltway, we experienced that for the past 3 years. I want to say Welsh Construction probably left our road for the last time last month, and here came this notice. We are ready to enjoy our road and the benefits of a cul-de-sac and not having to worry about Welsh Construction, and anyways, we got through all that. I came here in 2016 because my husband and I wanted the rural landscape and a good school district. Cecil's known for being the safest community in 2019, so that was intriguing to us and knew and validated that we made the right decision. Shortly after moving, we did experience the construction of the Southern Beltway, and we buckled up for that three-year journey. When you take a ride down County Line Road, you will see everybody's house is meticulously maintained. Not one person doesn't have their landscaping done. They actually put pressure on everybody to make sure your yard is mowed and everything. So that is one reason why we don't want the tower, because we take such pride in our street, in our community. On June 24th, my neighbor shared with us a cell tower was planned to be placed near our homes. At first, we thought the tower would be placed across the highway, but as we quickly realized it would be in our front and backyards, we came together as neighbors and determined that the left side of County Line Road was notified via registered letter. Some of the residents did not respond to this registered letter. They threw it away. One resident thought that maybe someone was trying to buy their home because we do live on such a pristine road. It wouldn't be uncommon for someone to approach us about that. So when we first started learning about a cell tower, the first thing that runs through my mind is safe? I have 2 little girls at home. We're a young family. We plan on being here for many years. What are the long-term effects of this? So as you may or may not know, towers can create safety issues. There is overwhelmingly documented health effects from tower radiation, and there's also safety. If a tower is struck by lightning, catches fire, collapses, if it's not maintained, these are not issues when it's in a neighborhood. When they're in acreage and way out of the way, those aren't issues if it's not maintained. It's an issue in our neighborhood when it's so close to our homes and the people that we love. After research and common sense, it's also clear that the proposed cell tower will have an extraordinary financial impact on the residents. 94% of home buyers and renters are less interested and would pay less for a property located near a cell tower. They feel this way because of the visual appearance of the tower and also concerns about health impacts like myself. 79% said that under no circumstances would you purchase or rent a property within a few blocks of cell towers and antennas. This impact on property values will affect not only the homes near the tower, but affect the properties throughout our streets and surrounding neighbors. The visual impact of this tower will drastically alter the aesthetic characteristics of our neighborhood. The neighbor is not only rural, but its intrinsic value of the community and natural beauty which we came here for. We bought our house because of these characteristics. Now, we understand that a community of Cecil Township has grown over the years and that cell towers are needed. We are just asking to have it in a different location. The owner of the property that resides there, part-time, he is not there full-time to experience the effects of this. And I think that's something that should be taken into consideration. So when you sit down and you think about voting for this, know that your vote impacts us for the next 100 years. My kids living in that home. That's how important this is to us. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other resident comments? Please step to the microphone. State your name and address for the record.
Okay. Thank you. My name is Ben Shinsky. I live on 218 County Line Road. And can you possibly put that map back up without it being possibly? Okay, well, if it's going to be an issue, that's kind of like okay. So for the most part, I had no idea about the tower being installed until I got a registered letter about 2 weeks ago. And when I read the letter, it said that the address was 162 County Line Road. And I wasn't even positive where it was, so I Google mapped it. And when I Google mapped it, can you scroll down where you can see the toll road?
I'll have to use,
Okay.
your map, I think. I don't
Is that
have
your map?
What do you
But at any rate, when I Google mapped that address, it came up where the Cloverleaf is on the toll road. Right across the road, when you go down County Line Road to the cul-de-sac, when you cross over the turnpike, it's at Cloverleaf. I think it's the 79 southbound off-ramp. So that's where it showed that the address for 162 is located. So whenever I went over there and I looked at that, there's no homes here. It's not a residential area. It's elevated, and to me, it sounded like a good idea to put a tower there. It made sense for a location. So afterwards, I found out, well, that's not true. It's going in the woods, and I'm at 218, and that tower is literally going to be right in my backyard. So talking to other neighbors, everybody had that concern about that tower being right in our backyard. I don't know if you could see Jerry's, but so concerns are property value. I know everybody's already brought up the issue about the health effects, but who made the determination to pick that location? You know, if it's for the corridor in 79, why can't it not be over there where that cloverleaf is?
That's a good question for the applicant. What was the determination leading up to that location?
Well, there are a variety of factors that go into that. Of course, elevation is part of it. Zoning is part of it, where it can go. Obviously, any PennDOT-owned property, which is now quite a bit of the high ground, is off the table.
Why?
Yeah.
The state doesn't allow leases anymore.
Why? Do you know why?
I don't. I think it's maybe a case where everyone's in charge and no one is in charge at the same time. I'm not sure, but it just goes nowhere.
State.
Is that property PennDOT or Turnpike?
Pennsylvania Department of Transportation.
Dan thinks it's Turnpike.
Well, it's same.
It's same, yeah.
Same, right?
No, it's not. Two different organizations.
Oh.
Turnpike owns what they own, PennDOT owns what they own. What is that area right now?
It's Pennsylvania Department of Transportation. Because we mailed a letter to them as well.
What
Per the-
piece? You saying it's PennDOT's?
These
Blues, whatever that is?
these two pieces here are PennDOT, along with in Allegheny County here. This is PennDOT as well.
What about directly across from the turnpike where the concrete batch plant is? That's
Yeah,
turnpike
that's-
property.
the property there was not ideal for elevation for us. It
It's
didn't
higher
provide
than
the
where you're
same,
putting it.
didn't provide the same coverage.
Can you, wait, hold on. Can you state your name and address, or not your, yeah, your name and address for,
Brian Douglas, 216 County Line. It's the highest area, the highest flooding area. And as far as the impact study goes, what impact? Health and safety?
Brian, can you just, we want to hear you out. I just want to make sure it's all recorded. Can you just step to the microphone and speak?
Yeah, just so you know, Brian, I'm not done talking either.
You can come back. We promise, just stand there. We promise you'll get a chance to come back.
As far as the impact study goes, was it health and safety? Was it visual? Because from my living room, I can see the storage buildings. I can see the turnpike behind me. And you're saying that I'm not going to be able to see that tower?
No, I am not saying that. I am saying when I answered, I was answering a question about the National Cemetery. Yeah.
You
No,
did
will-
say, you said during your presentation that it's not going to be visually seen by any of the dwellings. You did say that.
Said the ground equipment will not be seen.
You're worried about the ground, don't worry about the
Yeah,
tower.
yeah. I mean, to me, that's a misrepresentation because you said, what you said was that it wouldn't be seen, which to me means the tower itself.
The fenced compound and tower equipment will not be visible due to terrain and surrounded wooded ground.
Okay, so let
Nobody's
me ask
talking
you a
about
direct
that.
question then. Will the tower be in the visual directive line of the people on County Line?
It will be visible.
Okay,
It
well,
has to be visible.
that's a totally different story. Okay, go ahead, sorry, Brian, and sorry.
Yeah,
ahead.
that's what, and as far as ownership of the property, I'm pretty sure it's the Turnpike Commission. I just looked at an app on my phone, Pennsylvania Turnpike, not PennDOT. Two different entities.
Okay.
Brian, you can
two
also-
very different
Also
entities.
verify there's residents down there,
Like they said before, part-time.
but there is a residence there.
That's correct.
But if that line, that red line is accurate, that goes across that, right with the township or the county line, it looks like that dwelling, if that's it, on that portion, isn't even on this parcel. We need to see a parcel map. You have a parcel map of what of the property?
You just show you this shown, right there.
This is the parcel map, right here.
Well, that's shown, that see that line right up there?
That's the township.
This is the
The
town.
red line, something looks like that was drawn in there. Is that the end of the parcel? So
This is right off the Washington County parcel map
Same
viewer.
way I have Tom.
okay, well, so where's that dwelling, part-time or full-time, whatever, where is that in relationship to those
Tommy,
buildings I see?
Tommy, it's in this first building right here,
Wait, where,
the first storage unit,
It's in-
the long one.
Which one?
point to this one.
Looks like a barracks.
It's the square one
No, the next one down. That one.
That's where they live.
It's very
Here, I'm
nice
pulling it
inside.
up on my computer.
Yep.
Here, hold on, I'm pulling it up on my computer.
And what you're doing,
I'm
where's
just
the
gonna show 'em.
access to that property?
Comes up this way. Comes up the side, right from the cul-de-sac of County Line Road.
It comes off a county line.
Yep, right there.
Yeah, this was before the road was put in, but there's a road here that was put in to have access to this storage area.
Is this property Jerry Maz's?
Yes.
Is that this driveway meandering through those two parcels onto the right side?
Yeah, the green line here, because whenever this photo was taken, or the satellite was taken, it didn't have the draw, I just drew that on there. It's an approximate.
Tom, you can see, here, do you want to,
Does he own those two parcels too, that same owner?
Those are owned by Pennsylvania. I don't have it, well, actually, I
It
do
says
have a,
Commonwealth of Pennsylvania Turnpike, that's what it. That's who owns it.
I think the turnpike's further over. I'd say he belonged to Turnpike because they bought the houses there and tore them down. Pardon me?
Yeah, it's Commonwealth of Pennsylvania Turnpike Commission. You were correct. Yeah. Regardless, there's no.
If anybody wants to see this, I just pulled up this in like actual,
They know,
live
I'm sure they know it.
I'm sure you know it, but this is what we're looking at, so everybody can see it. Did you, you know it too. I just pulled the GIS system.
Yeah.
Yeah. Frank, you need to see it. So they were talking about like this, but this is Allegheny County. Okay. Tom, they're saying he lives right
Just open the door.
What you do?
Do you know what's occupied, that other, where'd it go?
Hey, that don't look like County Line Road.
Them other buildings are all storage
I know,
units.
but I'm talking about on the Allegheny County line, where it looks like they share that driveway. Is that occupied, the one structure right down across the Allegheny County line?
Your
Yep.
house is in
There's
Cecil, right?
this little house right here. Is there somebody living here? Yes, yes.
You know, it's agricultural also, you know, taxes aren't being paid on it. It's how we're being back.
Yeah. There's no agricultural designation in Cecil.
It's R1.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Go ahead. Sorry to
I
interrupt.
forgot what I was talking about now.
I'm sorry.
No.
If it
But hey,
comes-
if you can scroll down on that map, sorry, to where that,
Hang on one second. Hold on one second. Go ahead.
scroll down on the map to where the cloverleaf was. I'm sorry? But at any rate, kind of like where that cement factory plant thing is, when you stand up on top of the hill, that looks like the highest point. And to me, I think that would be an ideal location, especially if you're looking for 79 Turnpike and you're not looking at Cecil Township enhancement. And additionally, you know, my concern is having that tower right there in my backyard. If it was further down, like if you go down through the valley and up, no, go north. Okay, stop. Almost like where that circle is, right along the turnpike. Because I don't know if you know, but Jerry's property is downhill. So when you go down his driveway, my house is flat on County Line Road, but it drops down into a deep valley, and Jerry's probably about halfway down into that valley. So if you're talking about elevation, a good elevation point, you know, I think that Cloverleaf is higher than putting it down there where Jerry is. You know, me personally, I don't want to see it in my backyard. If it was further down along the highway, across the highway, I mean, I'd be good with it. Yeah, and like what they said, you know, we've dealt with a lot. You know, when they closed the road, they built the highway. I got damage in my house from blasting. I still got a report. You know, we finally got that fixed. They had Morgan Road closed. So it seems like everything's settling down, and, you know, now we got the tire. I spent 40 years in the military, retired. I want to live on a peaceful road, not undisturbed, but if you catch my drift.
Dan, this concrete plant was definitely in Allegheny County, right?
Yes, Ron,
Yes.
I would say it is, yes,
Am I done?
definitely.
You can say.
You get
I
to
just-
tell us if you're done.
Yeah, you can say. I just wanted to rebut a couple things.
Hang on one second. Let me let the residents finish, and you can just kind of keep all your
Okay.
information then at the end.
That sounds good.
Any other residents' comments?
I have a question on what was just said.
Hold on, Tom, hold on.
Okay.
You have a resident question or a question for them?
No, I guess for them.
Okay, hang on one second and let the residents finish, and then we'll go back to them. Go ahead.
Hi, my name's Paul Lycar, and I live at 224 County Line Road. And I have more of a question than a statement. That it was stated that you're 500 feet from dwellings. How far are you from people's property line?
We could look on here.
You mean you don't know?
Well, actually, I do.
Well, tell me.
I'll show you.
Well, I'd like to know in feet or yards.
Send it. He never did show you that coverage map.
I haven't marked down.
Yeah, the plan should show dimensions from the tower to all the property lines.
Yeah, the plans do show that. Did the board receive the plans?
No. Generally,
No.
what happens in a conditional use hearing, because we are totally separate from the planning commission, is that you will do the presentation that is presented to the planning commission again here. Because we are totally separate board. We understand that they recommended it to us, but we have not received anything from them.
Actually, Dan said they didn't recommend it, they just recommended having
Recommended a hearing. That's what I meant, yeah. So we have not seen anything at this point.
Well, it looks to me like you're like 50 feet from people's property lines. If that's not going to bring down people's home values, other than a dump, I don't know what else would.
We can continue on, or we can pause this right now and reschedule it for another date if you want to do that, so that you can kind of start and go through the whole presentation. It's totally your choice as the applicant, but I do feel a little bit like we didn't start off with the full presentation.
But I hate to make him have to all come back to another hearing.
Yeah.
All right, well, he said
We
he said
scheduled
he'll
this
find his
at-
map showing the
At our last, yeah.
property line distances.
Okay. Okay. We don't have to, it's fine.
We do have it on our construction drawings, but I thought everyone had those. I sent them out in digital format. I don't understand.
I thought he said he had them. Dan. Does
Dan,
Dan
do
have
we
them?
have
Dan,
I thought he said he had drawings of
I
design.
have them.
Did,
I mean, that's what he said at the beginning of the meeting.
yeah.
In the meantime, I can ask you that question. I don't question what you said about PennDOT not doing leases anymore. Have you checked with the Turnpike Commission, see if they do leases?
Yeah, so that's what I was gonna answer.
Okay.
Go ahead, you can answer that.
So when the tower first comes about, or the need for a tower, AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, whoever it is, they don't know what's out there. They know that they need coverage here. They know that the public is saying there's a lapse in coverage and we need more coverage. They also know that there's capacity issues. More and more people using their cell phones for different things. So as this comes about, they say, we need a tower here. They don't know if it's in the middle of a cemetery, a swimming pool, whatever. We want optimal here. What we do from that point is go out and see what we can do. So we need to find criteria that meet RF criteria, so that it's going to hook up with the other towers in the area, so it's seamless coverage. Then also it has to be zonable and leasable and buildable. So these are the criteria that we look at. So there's great properties out there. The cemetery is a great property. South Fayette has great properties. Some of those are not zonable, some of them are not leasable, and some of them are not buildable. This particular property met all of the criteria that we need, and we then look at the zoning criteria. And the zoning criteria for this particular tower, we meet all of those criteria as well.
But it sounds to me, from what I've heard from testimony, that that the people that live on County Line Road did not have a cell phone coverage issue, and that you're trying to solve a coverage issue outside of the people that live on County Line Road by putting a cell phone tower in their backyard, which I hear what you're saying, but I also hear what the residents are saying from the perspective of why do they have to have decreased property values? Why do they have to look at it in order to solve the coverage issues on 576 or in South Fayette?
Okay.
That's not,
That may not necessarily be true for the capacity issues. I'm not the RF engineer that knows that stuff. We have RF engineering letters that state why we need this tower here. It is also a capacity issue, whereas 10 years ago, we were using our cell phones to make a cell phone call. Now, that's not the case. I mean, it's crazy what's happened in technology with phones. So capacity issues, what they're saying is, we know we need more, and we know we need more and more and more. And that's just how it goes. So, yeah, if residents and customers of Verizon and Sprint and, all the others weren't complaining about coverage, they wouldn't be doing this. They wouldn't be building a tower That's not
I
necessary.
guess I'm just trying to get, and I'm not getting a straight answer, is who are the complaints coming from? Because they're clearly not coming from the residents that live in the area of where you want to put the tower. So the complaints have to be coming from the other side, which would be South Fayette or Allegheny County, or from 576 or 79.
Or it's Verizon and AT&T's business model plan that they know or suspect what they want to do in the future.
Hold on. So I understand what you're saying, but do you see what the point that I'm trying to
Sure,
make?
so that one person, I mean, and I'm not pointing out, but if one person is saying, I don't want it, and I'm not going to use it, I don't care if my cell phone doesn't work here, that may not be Verizon's view. Or, you know, we want to cover this area. We have a need to cover this area.
How come this only come along after the turnpike came in?
How long, I'm sorry?
Why did it only come in?
It didn't. When this particular site, we've been working on it for, I don't know when the turnpike came in, but we've been working on this site for a couple of years.
And these people got 2-week notice?
We follow well, we're not going to go and notify everybody. I mean, Chick-fil-A doesn't notify everybody when they're going to build a new Chick-fil-A.
Would you want this next to your house?
Absolutely.
You would? Mm-hmm. We'll put it up there then.
Okay.
I don't think it's a good fit.
So we're following the ordinance, which is we send out notice per the ordinance.
Understood. Go ahead. Anything else? you wanna say?
Yes, I did have one other thing, that I'm not an expert on cell phone reception or anything, but I assume they put them up on hills because cell phones signals don't go through hills and valleys, because if I go in a tunnel, I lose reception. If it has to be up high for it to actually work, how can you sit there and say you're not going to be able to see it from the cemetery? You have to. If you can't see it from the cemetery, it's underground and it's not going to work. So you will be able to see it from the cemetery. You have to, or else there would be no point in putting it there. That's all I had.
Thank you. Any other residents? Keep in mind, we have a hard stop at 7 because we have our regular township meeting that starts at 7. So just keep that in mind, and I would ask that you not speak on health issues since we can't address them.
Hello, my name is Robin Moore. I've been a resident on this street at 214 County Line Road, Steve Preddy. He's my significant other. And I just want to say a lot of these people here have lived there so much longer than I have, all right? And I could not tell you the beauty. The sunrises, the sunsets, and all the trees behind. I can't even tell you. I mean, it's beautiful. We should have sent pictures, panoramic views of it, and you'd be jealous. I mean, it's just gorgeous. And you're going to take that away. All right? Now, I'm a real proponent of change. My whole life has been in manufacturing. All right? And actually, Paul actually works at my company as well. I'm a buyer. We make things from scratch, all right? And for big companies. We do server units, all right, for Amazon, Facebook, Google. Very much aware of what's going on. All for change, all right? We all need cell phones. We all need, our gizmos, things to entertain our children, whatever. But there is no problem with our coverage up there, and we choose not to have it. Now, I know with the Communication Act of 1996, you can't go into health issues, and you can go through other countries now that are fighting the 5G all over. And in other countries, they're even a lot further ahead of us on this, and it's becoming a real problem. And I want to know how many towers are now existing in Cecil, and how many more do you plan on putting there? And can you daisy chain these? How far away? And if you have it across the way, how many miles does that have coverage? How much coverage is there? How many miles does that cover? One tower. I want to know the coverage.
It's a difficult question to answer because it really depends on population.
What's the
and-
average?
And, you know,
What's the radius?
I would say probably
You know.
a mile and a
Average.
half, 2 miles.
So you're going to want to aesthetically put up these every 35, 100 feet? Is that what you're saying?
Well, about 2 miles.
Every 2
yeah.
miles?
Yeah.
Get ready. This is coming to our neighborhood. This is going to be a problem. Okay? What about existing apertures that you have there? Because Verizon or AT&T already own it, so you can put up mini cell towers automatically on top of it in other areas and utilize that as well?
So when we first start, I mean, if I'm just answering it, when we
Yeah.
first start.
Can you speak into not hers, his?
Yeah, when we first start, all towers, we come out and look and see if there's anything here. The best thing for Verizon or AT&T is that there's a tall structure or a tower that's already here, we can co-locate our equipment on. That wasn't the case here. Yes, they do share, and I think that they share pretty well. If you see any tower out here, typically, and especially in more congested or populated areas, you'll see numerous carriers sharing the same tower. So this tower eliminates the need for Verizon to have a tower and AT&T to have a tower. They'll both share this tower. There's space on it for T-Mobile as well. So that is taken into consideration some. These guys don't always work together. Verizon and AT&T have different business plans.
So to be clear, you work for Elevated Properties, is that what it's called? And you will own the tower, correct? And then AT&T, Verizon, or whomever else will rent space on your tower so they came to you and asked for, and said, we need coverage area here.
Correct.
So is there the possibility for this to be relocated to, there's clearly a lot of space out there, to an area that's less visually impacting the residents, but still provides the same level of needed coverage?
And I think this is the prime spot. I mean, we did.
I'm not asking if it's the prime spot. I'm asking, is there another location that will take it out of the,
Potentially other locations?
yes.
Not that we found.
And you've you're testifying to this, you've done extensive research, and this is the only location.
Yeah, from a zoning standpoint, is it buildable? Is it zonable?
Are you saying that because South Fayette doesn't allow cell towers in residential areas, and the other side of that is South Fayette, and therefore?
Into it, yeah. I don't know their zoning, but if you're saying they don't allow it,
I'm
then-
not saying, I don't know their zoning either.
If we were looking first in Cecil Township, and we went to Cecil Township's ordinance, and it said towers are not permitted in a residential zone, then we would have stopped looking.
What about the fact now you discovered, I'm estimating 125 feet away is residence. And you're putting up a 199-foot tower. I know it'll probably never fall over, but what if it did?
Well, the towers are designed,
I'm not talking about design, I'm talking about the distance.
the distance to what? I'm sorry, I didn't hear
To
you.
where he has a residence.
Setback has to be 500. Has to be a minimum of 500 near residence
You're about 125.
when it's out of compliance.
They have to be 500 feet from the structure for the residential.
Dan, he lives in that garage.
I'm with you.
You testified that it's 500 feet from the property line, not,
500 feet from dwellings.
okay, so you're
it's not.
testifying to the fact that it's 500 feet or more from any occupied structure.
Correct.
Okay.
What's going to happen to the structure that's occupied on the property?
I wasn't aware that it was, that it was occupied, so.
Wait, I think we have another issue that comes first. That's almost clearly non-conforming. And to expand to non-conforming, that's another whole issue before you can even consider this, expanding a non-conforming use, or expanding non-conforming on an existing parcel that's non-conforming. So I think that bears ferreting out
Solicitors,
first.
we need to have a solicitor's review in a minimum.
I know, I'll mention that too. Yeah.
We are not under that impression. This is not a non-conforming use. It's a conforming use on a permitted area.
Well, it is a non-conforming use if you don't have anyone living in an occupied structure, but only have storage facilities, because storage facilities without an occupied structure are not permitted in residential zone. So
How did those come to be in Cecil Township?
that's,
If they-
well, because it
We'll look
was,
into it, but if it's grandfathered in, then we have to
Yeah.
deal with it through non-conforming.
Correct.
So there's a procedure for expanding non-conforming on a parcel, and I think that has to happen first, even before you can even be here.
Well, when
I hate
we
to make
go-
people have to come back, but
When we go to the zoning officer and we say we want to, this is what we're looking at, and here's the criteria that we meet, we went through this.
that, she doesn't, that's for us.
But you're
to
not
determine.
meeting it. You're not 500 feet from that residence.
Well, that's, no, we're talking,
Pardon me?
the issue,
Residents.
It absolutely is.
then you're.
Ask how many people there know he lives in there.
I mean, either way, it's not a great situation, because if it is a residence, then you're not 500 feet from the residence, which kicks you out of the ordinance. Hold on, let me speak. And then if it is not a residence, then Supervisor Cassiola is correct, and then it's a non-conforming parcel, which we couldn't approve tonight anyways, because you need to go through a separate process in order to make a change to a non-conforming parcel. So unfortunately, I apologize, but I think you're gonna have to come back. And we have to end in 4 minutes anyways to start our normal business
we
meeting.
can
So-
continue this here.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna do.
And it could be a simultaneous application if the solicitor advises us to send them, say, to the zoning hearing board for an expansion of a non-conforming.
We can have Gretchen look into that if you don't mind. So we'll have,
So, yeah, we can, I guess we can talk to the owner too and find out. I wasn't aware that he had a residence there, so.
so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna continue the hearing. We're gonna have, Jordan's sitting in for our normal solicitor, Gretchen Moore. We're gonna have her determine whether or not you need to go to the zoning hearing board for expansion of a non-conforming use. If you do not, then you can come back and we'll continue the hearing. If you do, then you can continue along that process. How does that sound? Good?
Okay.
Okay,
good.
so this hearing, yes. All of this will be taken into consideration. Thank you. Thank you. This hearing is continued. I do too?
Do we have a couple minutes?
Huh?
We have a couple minutes.
You have to pee so bad. Wait, I want to show you something.
It's R1,
No, okay.
power and accessories.
I know, I always have to read.